Great Convos Season 5 is here, and we're coming in strong.
Well, we are back again. We took a week off, but we are back. Welcome to Great Convos, where we always say, whether you agree or disagree, you can always find great convos. I'm Roger Caesar, and that gentleman over there.
Hello, Roger. I'm Alexandre Matt. How are you, Roger?
I am fantastic. What an amazing week I've had. Can I please share things right now?
Of course, Roger. I've been following the news from the past week, and it's amazing. Go ahead. What is new with you?
Well, first of all, let me just say hello to our loyal listeners. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. Please put it in the chat. Say hello. We'd love to hear from you. Wow, Alex, on Tuesday, finally, this past week, my book came out. Speak to Inspire came out, and I am so happy to be here with this. Oh my God. I mean, myself and Victoria Sokolova, we came out with this book. It is a simple step-by-step read for those who are wanting to learn the different aspects of public speaking, from the TEDx stage to the World Championship of Public Speaking and everything in between. It gives you a guide as to how to create your speeches. And we are so happy it is out on Amazon right now. So please go and get your copy with that. And then, Alex, this weekend, I flew out to Panama City, Florida, where I was part of the District 77 Spring Conference, and I was a keynote speaker there. So I want to give a quick shout out to McKinley Curtis III, to Judith Kidd, and to Rontario Hicks. All three of them were very instrumental in bringing me out there to speak. I am so happy and so proud to have been a part of it. What an amazing time I've had here in Panama City. Awesome time.
Great.
What about you, my friend?
Wow. Thank you for serving members of the organization all over the world. I've been more tranquil, more less traveling than you, Roger. I went, I think, just outside over there to rake some leaves as the snow is melting. But in a few days, I'm going to Oshawa, just east of Toronto, to participate in District 123's annual conference. So that's going to be fun. I will be there to help with the contests. We have 3 contests, and I will be chief judge for all 3 of them. Now, Roger,
I'm gonna miss it.
You're gonna miss it. You're gonna be somewhere else.
For the first time, I'm gonna actually miss it. I will be in Sunrise, Florida, at District 47's conference, being the keynote speaker there. So I am missing our conference for the first time ever, and I'm bummed out. But the trade-off is pretty good.
Yeah, it is. All right, Roger. Today we are talking about another popular saying that we would like to question. So the episode today is titled, it's right here.
Oops.
Hi, Arthur. Arthur is commenting and it's taking away the title.
There we go.
Episode 13, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. We actually touched on this on the first episode of the season. You remember? We said, maybe we can teach an old dog new tricks. And we were talking, you know, of course, metaphorically, as human beings sometimes are we too old to learn something new? Well, why talk only about humans? It would be even more interesting and more relevant to speak about true dogs. So we found one of the best trainers of dogs in the country. So shall we bring her on?
Of course. Why not?
Her name is Deena Cooper. She's been training dogs for over 30 years, although she might tell us that it's not just about training dogs, but about training their owners. She is the founder of Deena Speaks Dogs. She's a pioneer when it comes to positive, humane training. Roger, I'm so excited to have one of the top dog trainers in Canada with us. Please welcome Deena Cooper.
Hi.
Hello,
Thank you for having
Deena.
me here. I'm glad I'm here.
We are so proud to have you here with us. And yes, we have been tackling conventional wisdom this entire season. And this one here is one that, well, Alex came up with the idea while we were discussing what we do with regards to this. And we said, why don't we just bring in a true dog trainer? And I said, yeah, that would work.
Thank you.
That would work. So you have been doing it for quite some time. Why don't you give us a brief introduction to yourself and how long you have been doing this and why?
Well, a vet discovered my talent many years ago where I brought a dog in on an emergency visit and he said, "Did you know you have a very fine touch with dogs?" And I said, "Yes." But at the time I was a pastry chef. So being a little kid and having to do chores, I used to have to clean up poop and feed the dogs. And he said, "Maybe you should go back and doing that." And I said, "You know what? Not interested in it. I like my pastry stuff too much. Thank you very much." But he had selective listening skills and he started to send me clients. And before you know it, I had to make an executive decision: pastries or pups.
Wow.
So I went to the pups route. And that's how I got started. And before you know it, one client after another. And I enjoy seeing the results and working with people and doing it in a very positive, humane way by being proactive instead of reactive. And I think that's the key.
Right. Hey, amazing how someone can change the trajectory of your career, not just with words, but through actions. That's cool.
Yes.
So, Deena, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, or can you?
I think it's never too late to teach an old dog new tricks. I don't think you should give up on the manners or the wonderful relationship that you've fostered over the years. The challenge is for people to take the time to engage their dog's mind so they enjoy learning. When people change, dogs change. So you just don't give up and let your dog lounge around the house, because that creates boredom for the dog. And then the dog can get into mischief or do things to garner your attention in a negative way. And therefore you end up destroying the great relationship you have. So continue to do that. I always like to challenge myself. So if I feel I'm at my max regarding my dog's learning, then I'll try and teach my dog something new. And in the end, when my dog gets it and I get it, I feel at peace and a sense of accomplishment, and so does my dog.
So the question then that I have for you, Deena, is how then do you approach resistance to change? And we're talking about from the perspective of the dog owners.
Well, that's a good question. When I have people resisting my suggestions, I try to come in another angle that they can relate to, and I find that usually works. Or I'll take control of the situation, which is their dog, and I'll do a demonstration. And when people see that it actually works, I think that motivates them to want to give it a try.
Do you have a concrete example?
Yes, a couple of weeks ago, I was at a home and the lady's small dog, the couple's dog has separation anxiety. And one of the exercises that you need to do in order to alleviate separation anxiety is teaching the dog to go to their bed. And then you would tell them to stay, and then eventually you do mock departures and so on and so forth, in conjunction of not allowing the dog to exhibit Velcro behavior. And I could tell she was looking at me with a bit of skepticism. And I said, "Okay, give me dog's treats, give me a house leash, and give me a bed." Not their bed, the dog's bed. And so I put the bed on the floor and I said to the dog, "Come to your bed." And I lured the dog with treats. I told the dog to stay. And after a few minutes, I would repeat the exercise. And then because they had a donut bed, I stuck the treats inside the bed, and the dog would stay for longer periods of time, because technically this dog didn't even know a sit stay. And she said, "Look, honey, look, the dog is actually staying, and the dog is away from us and not sitting on our laps or perching on the end table." And I think that itself gave her an incentive to want to try. And I think I learned a lot from that, because normally I'll just talk about it, but because I realized I was met with a lot of resistance, I had to take control of the situation and show her, yes, it can be done. And she was very impressed with that.
Right, because
go ahead, Alex.
Not only with dogs, but I mean, I've never owned a dog. My mother did after I moved out, and when I was a child, I wanted a dog, and we never got it until I moved out. Mama, why did you do that? But when me as a non-dog owner, it's not super easy to connect with all these things, everything that you're saying. But I'm comparing this to either raising children or just being around other humans. It sounds like there's a lot of parallels between raising a dog and just raising ourselves as better human beings as well.
Yes, there is. The nice thing about older dogs is they're able to focus and ignore the external stimuli, and train for a longer period of time when you're retraining an older dog, versus kids, where they don't have an attention span. Most kids, well, I don't want to say, but anyways, they don't have the attention span, and they can't sit still for very long. So it's just like us too. If we want to learn something new, we're going to stay more focused, or we'll be more focused, versus young kids and puppies. Puppies can't stay still for very long. They can't focus. We say they have attention span of a flea. They do. So we have to use higher value treats or a toy or more praise in order to get them to stay focused to us. Where an older dog, he's been there, he's done that, and we just want to embellish on the things that he already knows and add to it in order to keep their minds active.
Positive reinforcement, Roger?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Deena and Alex.
Yeah, lots of treats, lots of praise. You can use toys, but yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that I had a dog, and just just little under a year ago, she passed away. 16 years. 16 years we've had. So, but the thing about that I would have said was, I wish I had known you back then when we were trying, because we had so much trouble trying to get her to do things when she was a puppy. And then it started growing a little bit when she was getting older. She started to learn a few things, but not all the things that we would have wanted. Now, you have said as well that there is a certain way in which you're supposed to talk to them in order to get them to know how to do it. The voice variations, we talk about this in speaking, but from a dog's perspective, what is the voice variation? How does that help them in how you talk to them and to train them?
Dogs respond to your energy level, your voice, and your height. So that's very important, because when they play with each other, it's the same way. So if I say to my dog, "Leave it, good boy," my dog's not going to take me seriously. I'm exaggerating, by the way. Okay. So, but if I say to my dog, "Leave it," and my dog looks up at me, when my dog looks up at me and makes eye contact with me, I would then obviously praise the dog. That's what's going to get their attention. And the same with our energy level. If we ask our dogs to stay and you walk away quickly, chances are your dog's going to follow you because your energy level's high. If you walk away very slowly, like an older dog, I'm just joking, or an older person, you walk away slowly, chances are the dog is going to stay. Not right off the bat, but if you're trying to accomplish like long distance stays or distraction stays, that's what you need to do, is watch your body language and walk slowly away. And the dog, chances of you being successful with the dog and the dog being successful will be good.
Deena, are there any tricks that an old dog would not be able to learn?
It depends on the health of the dog.
Right.
So if the dog is in cognitive decline, or is losing their eyesight, or the dog's got arthritis or hearing, then you may need to modify the tricks that you want to teach your dog. So I wouldn't ask a dog to I wouldn't ask an older dog to go jogging with me. I wouldn't ask an older dog to do agility, because I think that's just going to create more aches and pains that the dog may already have that we're not aware of. So I would probably focus on tricks like, shake a paw, touch, heel, kiss, which is just put a smidgen of peanut butter or cream cheese on your hand and ask him to kiss. I was going to lick my hand. Ask the dog to kiss your hand. Take a bow, find it, crawl, roll over. And you start with stuff that probably your dog already knows, and then just build up from that.
Right. So it sounds like just physical limitations. So I guess it's like, at my age, I won't start trying to do backflips, but maybe I can try to get a little more in shape to run bigger distances, or to build up muscle and endurance. But I wouldn't do something that would be impossible. I will never become an all-star NHLer. I won't be a hockey all-star,
Right.
but maybe I can play in a garage league with a couple of friends and learn how to be a better player without necessarily becoming all-star. Yeah. So there are still things that we can learn, that canines can learn, but humans can learn too.
Yeah, and all the exercises or the tricks that I just mentioned, they're all basically stationary.
Right.
And it's a good way to prevent boredom and cognitive decline. And it's also nice to keep that bond that is strong between you and your dog, because I notice that if I don't do that, then my dog starts to change. So then I have to get back on board and show him a few things. But it's all about being positive and just be patient and show empathy towards your older dog, because they may not have the stamina that a younger dog has. So just go slow, and chances are you'll succeed. And you're also giving the dog a chance to boost his confidence and well-being.
Now, if our listeners have any comments, please put it in the chat right now. We'd love to hear from you as well. Deena, maybe you've touched on this a bit already, but is there any do's and don'ts that we as dog owners, or for those who potentially would like to be a dog owner, is there any do's and don'ts that you would suggest not to do or not to do when it comes to training your dogs?
Well, if you're starting as a dog, if you're starting with a puppy, then we need to remember that the window of opportunity is usually between 7 and 16 weeks old, or maybe 8. Yeah, it's between 7 and 16 weeks old. Some people will even say a little bit earlier. So you don't want to wait till the dog is 6 months old, because by then the dog is full of bad habits, and that's going to be hard to change. So once again, start early, go slow, whether it's a young dog or an older dog, and a repetition, lots of patience, lots of love, and be consistent, because that's how dogs learn best. Just don't do it one day and then skip 4 days and then go back and do it again. A little bit each day, and you'll see the progress, and then that will give you the confidence to be able to want to continue, because you see the joy right in front of you and the success, and that's what I love. I think people give up too much on their dogs, and the dog is older and they've already done all the training, they've gone to the classes, or they've come to me, and then once they reach a certain level of obedience, then they slack off, and then the dog ends up just lounging around the house, and
it's so much like humans. You mentioned consistency, and then we sometimes would go to a training, or we go to a workshop, and then we learn all these things. We're like, yeah, I'm gonna be so good at this, and then we don't put it into practice. So we abandon when it gets a little too difficult.
Yes.
So if it works for dogs, it probably works for humans too.
Yeah, but with my craft, when I see that, I'm so motivated by it that I do want to go home and try it. And there's a few people that I may see to check in with, because even I myself might be doing something wrong that I'm not aware of. I'll give you an example. Many clients, when they have their dog in heel position, which is sitting beside you, and you want to teach the dog to have eye contact, because remember, without any eye contact, how is a dog going to know what your next command is going to be? So I'll have the dog sitting in heel position. I'll give them a treat, not for them, for the dog. I'll give them a treat to give to the dog, but I get them to put the treat to the dog's nose, then put it up under their chin. And half the time they move their whole body, so they're facing this way, the dog is facing this way. I want both human and animal to face the same way, but just turn from the waist up. Put the treat to the dog's nose, up under your chin, and then start talking to your dog. But don't pause in between chatting to your dog, because if you do, the dog's just going to look away. You want to continue to have the dog look at you, so you throw yourself into quite a few sentences. Good girl, good girl. If you don't know what to say good girl 5 times quickly, but not too high, because if you go too high, then the dog's going to be overstimulated. So you can say, good girl, I really love you. I'm just pretending. I really love you. You're such a good girl. Yes, you are. And then you can give the dog a treat. So you're marking the dog's behavior for looking at you, which is important. But a lot of people, what they end up doing is say, oh, you're such a good dog. Yes, you are. You're so good. Oh, I love you. And they're totally bent over.
Oh.
Now you're at the dog's height. So remember, tonality, height, and our energy is important. So stand tall, turn. Obviously, if you have a small dog, you're going to have to bend over and give the dog the treat.
Yeah. I've got a question here that was given by Arthur. It says, any suggestions for a smart dog breed? Thinking a border collie.
As far as training is concerned?
Yeah.
It's a lifelong thing with border collies and Belgian Malinois. You have to constantly train them, take them to obedience classes, level 2 and 3, do some agility work, do some nose. You could do herding with the border collie. I know there's a few farms not near where I live, but there's a few sheep herding places that she or they can take the border collie to, and that will definitely stimulate the dog's mind.
Wow. Now, you live not far away from Toronto, in Caledon, more precisely, but I suppose many of your clients are from the Greater Toronto area. If our viewers want to know more about you and what you do, and learn some of these tricks that they can use for their own dogs, we can go to your website, correct?
Yes, you can. And for people who have not problem dogs, who have too busy schedule or lifestyle, they're welcome to drop their dogs off. And I do a 3 to 4 week board and train. And then they come pick up the dog. I'll go through everything with them. And then I also do a follow-up at their house, as long as they don't live too far away. But I usually go to Toronto a couple of days a week to see the clients. And then I also have classes. So I have puppy classes. I have the Canine Good Neighbor class, which is through the Canadian Kennel Club. I'm the trainer and the evaluator. And then I also do private lessons. And then I also have a treat line and a puppy kit. So that's on my website as well.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the treat line, there's one thing called Deena's Fave.
Yes.
And I'm curious to know, because I was looking at what is included in that box of treats, and it looks like you have used your previous life as a baker to create these treats. Am I right?
Yes, I have. And I have it. It's just all those things in that box are my favorite things that I know will work for your dog. Right. And that's why I think people should buy that particular box. I have Yappy Puppy. I have a puppy training kit. I have an adolescent dog kit. But Deena's favorites are my favorite treats that I know work with dogs. So if people have dogs that get bored or puppies that constantly bite them and the family members, then, they'll have one of the long-lasting treats, and they'll take it from, behind their back and give that to the dog so that you're redirecting the puppy. Because you know what? Puppies have sharp teeth and they really hurt when they nibble on you.
Right. Roger was muted. Sorry.
I said I know that because I've seen it happen when mine was small, and you just nip at my daughter's leg every once in a while. So we've seen it happen.
Yeah. And what you could do when the puppy's following, a family member's leg on a lazy Sunday morning, you get a water bottle, empty it out and put some ice in it or some kibble, put the cat back on it and add a string to it and trail it behind you. So the dog is playing with the bottle and not the back of your pajamas.
Man,
good idea. There you go.
Little secrets can really be useful. So we encourage everyone to go see your website. I think you're also on Instagram.
Yes, I am.
So we can find you on Instagram, find you on your website. There's a whole section on the website with videos that give some insights. If I had a dog, I might how do you call it? Put her up for the board and room. What?
Yes, board and train. So people just give me a wish list,
right? And
then we take it from. Then I take it from there.
This is like a high class training for your dogs. It's like if you want to improve yourself or help a friend or family member be a better version of themselves, you can send them or send yourself to a high class training. You can do that for your dog as well.
Yes, you can. And remember, I'll do a follow-up. So I'm not going to just release the dog to you. I won't let you go until you learn the techniques that we've taught your dog. And by the way, Alexandra, it's not if you get a dog, it's when you get the dog.
There you go.
Yeah.
And he's got three beautiful daughters.
Positive thinking. Right.
Yes, my daughter's beautiful daughters that would love to have a dog. I know that. Why don't you get one? There we go.
All right. We won't let them see this show. Deena, did you want to offer something to our audience?
Yes. I if anybody, would like to have Deena's favorite treats delivered to them, then please go to my website and I'll be more than happy to send it to you.
All right.
Thank
you very much, Deena. Appreciate this. Well, Deena, we've come to the end of the show. I think we've learned a lot from you, and I think our listeners as well have learned a tremendous amount on how to train their dogs, and if they have older dogs, what they can do to keep them stimulated and learning still, even at that age. Well, just like humans, we never stop learning, and we shouldn't stop learning. It's the same thing that happens with dogs. So we appreciate the time that you have taken to spend with us today. And as we always say here at Great Convos, continue the conversations. If you know anyone who needs to know about how to train their dogs, please reach out to Deena as well with regards to that, so she can be there and be that super dog trainer that she is. And as we always say, whether you agree or disagree, you can always find Great Convos. Take care, everyone. Thank you, Deena.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye-bye.